Today, we're diving into something really powerful, how the foods you eat can be a practical, everyday tool in managing sickle cell anemia. Let's jump right in.
So let's just start with this question right here. What if the food on your plate was more than just something to fill you up? What if it could be a strategic part of your health toolkit? That's exactly the idea we're going to explore today.
Okay, so to really get the solutions, we first have to understand the unique challenge of sickle cell anemia. Let's take a look at why the body is pretty much always working in overdrive. At the very heart of it all is this process called hemolysis. See, because sickle-shaped red blood cells are so fragile, they break down way faster than they're supposed to. You can imagine it like a construction crew that has to rebuild a wall that's constantly crumbling. That's the kind of work your body is putting in 24/7. And you know, all that nonstop rebuilding, well, it burns a massive amount of energy and it needs very specific resources. Your body's engine is just running on high all the time, which means it needs more fuel and the right kind of fuel just to keep everything going. This brings us straight to our number one nutritional priority, protein. If your body is that construction site, you can think of protein as the master repair crew. It's absolutely essential to get the job done. Now, what's so cool here is that protein isn't a one-trick pony. It's juggling 3 critical jobs at once. First, it's literally the building block for making new red blood cells. Second, it helps manage the chronic inflammation that often comes with SCA. And third, it protects your muscles from breaking down due to that high energy burn we just talked about. It's a true powerhouse nutrient. But of course, protein isn't working alone. So let's open up the full nutrient toolkit and meet the other all-star players that are providing some serious backup for your health. Let's start with 2 heavy hitters. Think of arginine as a traffic controller for your blood vessels, helping to open them up so blood can flow more easily. This can be a huge deal in reducing that awful vaso-occlusive pain, which is basically pain from traffic jams caused by sickled cells. Then you've got omega-3s over here. They're like the body's cool-down crew, working to lower the inflammation that can trigger those pain crises in the first place. Okay, next up is vitamin D, and this one is so important. Deficiencies are really common in the SCA community, and that matters because low vitamin D is directly linked to bone pain and a higher risk of fractures. Plus, it's also a major player in keeping your immune system strong. And you really can't talk about vitamin D without bringing in its partner in crime, calcium. Calcium is the stuff that actually builds and protects your bone density, but here's the catch. It needs vitamin D to do its job right. You'll find it in the usual suspects like dairy, but also in fortified plant milks and even leafy greens. And this right here really drives the point home. They are a team. Thinking of them together is the best way to remember why they're both so important for bone health. One without the other just doesn't have the same power. And hey, a quick but super important shout out to your antioxidants. Remember that hemolysis process we talked about? Well, it creates something called oxidative stress, which can damage your cells. Vitamins C and E are like your cell's personal bodyguards, helping to protect them from that damage. Okay, this slide right here is pure gold. It pulls all those all-stars we just discussed into one handy chart listing their main job and where you can find them. Seriously, this is a great one to screenshot for when you're at the grocery store or planning out your meals. Now, we need to switch gears for just a moment. This next part is all about safety, and it contains 2 rules that are absolutely crucial. So please listen closely here. I'm going to read this one directly, word for word, because it is that important. Iron supplementation should only be taken under medical supervision. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a critical safety rule. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute, anemia, but too much iron? How does that work? Well, it's a bit of a paradox. The reason for this caution is that frequent blood transfusions, which are a common and life-saving treatment, can actually lead to a dangerous buildup of iron in the body. That's why a doctor has to be the one managing your iron levels, always. The second rule is about hydration, and thankfully, it's much more straightforward. Staying hydrated is completely non-negotiable. Consistent water intake helps keep your blood from getting too thick, which directly lowers the risk of red blood cells sickling and creating those painful blockages. All right, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's bring it all home and talk about the how. Let's build a practical strategy you can use for every single meal. The goal here is simple, but really effective. Combine 3 core components at every meal. When you do this, you make sure your body is getting that steady stream of energy and all the specific nutrients it's calling for to handle those extra demands. And this chart shows you exactly what that looks like. You're aiming for a balance of these three things on your plate. High-quality protein, which is your master repair crew, complex carbs for that slow and steady energy, and healthy fats to help with inflammation and overall health. And to really make this work, here are a few final tips. Focus on foods that are packed with nutrients, not just empty calories. Try to eat regular meals and snacks all day to keep your energy from dipping. And this is so important for children and teens, whose growing bodies have even higher demands. So if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Nutrition isn't just about eating. It's an active, strategic, and empowering tool you can use every single day to give your body the unique support it needs.
So I'll leave you with a little challenge. Thinking about everything we've covered, what's just one nutrient-rich food you can decide to add to your plate this week? A small step can make a big difference.
Take care, and thanks so much for watching.